Who Owns the Future, Chapter 5. This will be a shorter one. Siren servers. There can't be complexity without ambiguity. The mere existence of big data doesn't mean that people will agree about what it means. The problem I am acting on is that a particular way of digitizing economic and cultural activity will ultimately shrink the economy while concentrating wealth and power in new ways that are not sustainable. The mistake is setting up for avoidable traumas as machines get much better in this century. If network technology is supposed to be so good for everyone, why has the developed world suffered so much just as technology has become widespread? Why has there been so much economic pain at once all over the developed world, just as computer networking dug into every aspect of human activity in the early 21st century? There's a number of different explanations for the Great Recession that can be helpful. But we'll look at, there's a simple answer to the mystery. Finance got networked in the wrong way. The big kinds of computation that have made certain other industries like music efficient from a particular point of view were applied to finance, and that broke finance. It made finance stupid. So a first pass at defining a siren server is an elite computer or coordinated collection of computers on a network. It is characterized by narcissism, hyper-amplified risk aversion, and extreme information asymmetry. All of those are things to explore, but I'm really particularly interested in hyper-amplified risk aversion. This has to do with stuff that was mentioned in Chapter 4, where risk aversion really affects like the credit system and loans, ultimately hurting average people. It is the winner of an all-or-nothing contest, and it inflicts small all-or-nothing contests on those who interact with it. Siren servers gather data from the network, often without having to pay for it. The data is analyzed using the most powerful available computers run by the very best available technical people. The results of the analysis are kept secret, but are used to manipulate the rest of the world to advantage. That plan will always eventually backfire because the rest of the world cannot indefinitely absorb the increased risk, cost, and waste dispersed by a siren server. Homer sternly warned sailors not to succumb to the call of the sirens, and yet was entirely complacent about Hephaestus's golden female robots. But sirens might even more dangerous in inorganic form, because it is then that we are really most looking at ourselves in disguise. It is not the siren who harms the sailor, but the sailor's inability to think straight. So it is with us and our machines. Siren servers are fated by their nature to sow illusions. They are cousins to another seductive literary creature, star of the famous thought experiment known as Maxwell's Demon. And okay, let me just pause here to zoom out here on this, because I think he kind of coined the term siren servers, and I like that he did this in this like poetic, metaphorical way, using ancient text and some philosophy here. But the idea of a siren server being akin to the sirens of the Odyssey, and that their compelling all that come near it in such a way that they can't act rationally and to their own demise. So I'm not going to get too hung up on the Maxwell's demon thing, but James Clerk Maxwell, imaginary creature that could accomplish perpetual motion machine. If you're interested, like if just go look that up. We do our best to implement Maxwell's demon whenever we manipulate reality with our technologies, but we can never do so perfectly. We certainly can't get ahead of the game, which is known as entropy. Where sirens beckon. Some of the prominent present-day siren servers include high-tech finance schemes like high-frequency trading or derivatives funds, fashionable Silicon Valley consumer-facing businesses like search or social networking, modern insurance, modern intelligence agencies, and a multitude of other examples. The latest waves of high-tech innovation have not created jobs like the old ones did. This is this is subnote here, documented in Martin Ford's book, The Lights in the Tunnel, which proposes like a view of this that is a lot different than Jaron Lanier's. Iconic new ventures like Facebook employ vastly fewer people than big older companies like, say, General Motors. And put another way, the new schemes, the siren servers, channel much of the productivity of ordinary people into an informal economy of barter and reputation, while concentrating the extracted old-fashioned wealth for themselves. All activity that takes place over digital networks becomes subject to arbitrage, in the sense that risk is routed to whoever suffers lesser computation resources. Again, this goes back to my, compounding computational benefits. Who's benefiting from Moore's law are the corporations that have it. And again, this ties into the financial element of that too, addressed in this chapter and the previous one, about how it's easier to maintain wealth than it is to obtain it. So risk is then associated to being disadvantaged in computation resources. The universal advice of our times is that people who want to do well as information technology advances will need to double down on their technical educations and learn to be entrepreneurial and adaptable. These are skills that might win you a position close to a siren server, which is good advice in the near term. This is how the great fortunes of our age are being made. But there won't be enough positions close to siren servers to sustain a society unless we change the way we do things. So that's siren servers. Again, kind of the allure of them. Let's take Facebook, for example, that they do there. The allure of them being, these highly disruptive, everybody, it's a reputational, everybody knows Facebook and interacts with it, right? They're addicted to it. And in a weird, the employment at Facebook is reputationally good, but that computational resource eliminates the need for a lot of people, so they're not hiring that many people. So it's a consolidation of wealth and power, and it's moving toward a singularity. Eventually, the Siren server that has the ultimate, computational benefit, it's like the ultimate monopoly. It would be bigger than being a king, because you would have all of the data. You would have control over everything and everybody. Wow. That's not good.